morning and welcome to Morning Movie News, where here in the US, it's the day before the 4th of July. And I don't know about where you are, but here it is super quiet. It is much more quiet than I had anticipated. It's like the Sundayest of Sundays. But yet, why am I still in the office? Well, that's because I am prepping videos for next week so that Beyond the Trailer coverage will be uninterrupted while I'm traveling. So I just wanted to remind you that I'll be out of the office next week. So again, while Beyond the Trailer programming on the main Beyond the Trailer channel will not be interrupted, I have new episodes planned for every day as well as Movie Minutes. In fact, there's a special series that Movie Minute will be covering next week, so I hope you enjoy that. But however, I do want to also let you know that here on Morning Movie News, there will not be any new episodes. I had planned to do viewer question episodes, but I simply did not have the time because there was just so much prep work in general, and I didn't want to put up episodes that weren't worth your time. So Morning Movie News will continue on July 14th, because on the 13th, that Monday, I will be busy covering all the big headlines out of San Diego Comic-Con. So stay tuned for my coverage the Monday after the convention, and I won't be too behind because all the big headlines are supposed to break on Saturday, which is the really big movie day for the convention. So again, this channel will be dark for a week, but Beyond the Trailer, and I'll be on Twitter as well. But just be sure to check in there every day because new fresh programming will be going up, and I plan a lot of really fun movie bites since I'll be away, and I know many of you enjoy those, and I haven't gotten the chance to do as many as of late because there have just been so many movie reviews and breaking stories. Alright, so the other thing I want to take care of before we break into today's coverage is that if you entered the contest for the Rogue tickets at Comic-Con, check your Twitter account to see if you got a free pass. Check your direct messages, and I'll have emailed you with instructions on how to get your pass. Alright, so let's go to today's stories. Now, the first one is, of course, about Ghostbusters. Now, the viewer question yesterday was someone said to me, Grace, what, Lazar, BTT viewer Lazar said, Grace, why aren't you covering the Ghostbusters costumes and proton packs? And I said, when there's a picture of one of these actresses in a Ghostbuster uniform, then I'll cover it. And sure enough, BTT viewer, I have the name here, BTT viewer Mike Legere said that they're filming on his campus, and he tweeted me a photo of Melissa McCarthy in costume. I found another one online, so we have those costumes here. And then also for comparison, I have the original Ghostbusters uniform. Now, of course, Melissa McCarthy does not have the added decoration of the proton pack on right now, but I have to say, I'm not loving what I'm seeing. I think it looks as bland and as boring as it did on the hanger, and putting it on the actress isn't doing much for this uniform. Alright, so what are my problems with it? Well, I think on the one hand, it doesn't look particularly fun or high concept, right? I mean, it really looks like a janitor's uniform. Now, of course, the first one looked a little bit like a janitor's uniform, but if you pay close attention, and obviously more attention than the costume department did for this new Ghostbusters, you will see certain things that up the fun factor for these characters. Again, she doesn't have a proton pack. She doesn't have the cool goggles that, Dan Aykroyd, aka Ray, is wearing. But still, I think there are things that are missing. So what are they? Well, I think the name tags with the black and the red writing are obviously not there, and also they're a lot of fun. I think that they create more of a feeling of a uniform, of a team, and I just think that the red and the black, it spiffs up the uniform a little bit. And I don't know if a name tag is going to go on here because those stripes, which by the way are not flattering. I can't believe that a film that stars all women in the lead roles does not realize that horizontal stripes are like one of the worst things that you can wear. It's really bad. It calls attention to width instead, of creating a narrowing effect like vertical stripes would. So I just think it's really funny they were like, let's put that on the costume. I'm like, whoa. Like, no woman would do that. Although I guess these four did. But then also, the biggest problem is that Ghostbusters logo, right? It's really prominent on these three guys from the original costume. Even though it is also on their shoulders, not on the front of the costume, I would have considered putting it on the front of the costume here, considering how bad a job it's doing of showing up in these photos. Like, once I saw it, I'd be like, gotta move it to the front. And I would have made it, I think that the Ghostbusters logo on her costume, Melissa McCarthy's, is a little smaller than it is on the gentleman's. Also, I think theirs is cheated a little bit to the front so that when you look at them head on, you can still kind of see it, especially when they move their arms. But here you can see McCarthy standing here in that head-on photo, and it almost looks like her patch is cheated back a little bit. So it really does not play up the fact that she is a Ghostbuster. I mean, a uniform is supposed to show that you are a part of an organization, and I think someone looking at Melissa McCarthy at just a quick glance would be hard-pressed to realize that she was a Ghostbuster, instead of just the groundskeeper for this lovely university, which, by the way, has some lovely grounds. So I'm curious, what do you think of how the costume looks? I think Melissa McCarthy looks cute in it. I like her glasses. I like her hair. I think that looks nice, and she's got the good workman boots on. She has sensible shoes on, but I'm just not feeling the fun factor like I am in the first costumes. And also it has I think the zippered pockets are a little bit cooler than button pockets. I mean, you'd think you'd be doing a lot of moving around. You want to make sure that stuff stays in place. But I just don't think it looks as good. We'll see. We'll see if a proton pack is able to, make this look a little bit better. But right now, the original Ghostbusters were made cooler by their uniforms, and I understand that, Melissa McCarthy and company are supposed to be playing characters that aren't particularly cool, which is, I think, a risky choice. Especially because they don't seem to have a Bill Murray in their ranks, which was very important to the first film. So we'll see how it works, making them a little bit nerdier with really no cool factor in this reboot. All right, so that's the first story of the day. And the second story of the day has to do with an email that I got from the Disney store. I'm a big Disney fan. Some of you don't believe that sometimes. It's crazy. Whichever movie we're discussing, if I have some problems with it, everyone's like, oh, you're a hater. And I'm like, no, all of a sudden I'm being accused of being like a Marvel hater, when for a long time everyone said, you're a Marvel fangirl. But anyway, I love Disney. I subscribe to all their email alerts. I get their Disney theme park alerts and also their Disney store alerts. And they sent me an email saying, are you excited for what's it called? Playmation? Playmation is coming. See what stores you can get a first look at it by clicking here. And I was like, what the heck is this Playmation thing? And they showed some kid, as you can see here, with some Iron Man get up on his arm, and it was glowing. And I was like, that seems pretty cool. So I went and checked it out, and down below I have links to both the Playmation website and also the Disney Store Playmation page, where they're going to tell you where you can see this Playmation stuff in action early, okay? So if you want to go check it out, if you're as intrigued as I am, you can check those links out down below. And then if you go to the Playmation site, there's an ad for what it is. And they say, what's Playmation? Click here. And I was like, I clicked there, and I still don't really know what Playmation is, but I'm going to give you my closest guess. So they found a way to do some kind of interactive technology where you wear some kind of gauntlet, and it's able to interact with chips they're placing in other merchandise, right? So you can interact with a toy. They had an Iron Man, interactive picture that you could click on the different merchandise. I thought it was funny that they had the red Iron Skull or something, and they took the red skull and gave him his own Iron Man suit, and I was like, you gotta love action figures. I've never seen that before. That's crazy. And I was like, the red skull just did not translate to to other mediums like TV and movies. But anyway, so apparently you can play with this, and also you can interact with others. Use laser tag, the idea of we shoot at each other, and if I get you, you're your vest lights up. Well, I guess this is the next generation of that, and they've found other ways to do stuff with it besides just playing tag. But they're really pushing it for their Marvel properties, obviously, and Star Wars. But also, it's not featured in the commercial, but if you go on the website, they say that they're developing Frozen as well. I guess they don't have a release date for Frozen, so they don't want to push it just yet. But they say that the Marvel Playmation toys are coming out this year in 2015, and Star Wars in 2016. So I think this seems like a pretty cool toy, and I think it's a very aggressive move by Disney. And it shows that, they have these really amazing brands, and they aren't shy about utilizing them and thinking of interesting ways to utilize them. So I'm curious if, please go to the site, check it out, tell me if you think this is something you would be interested in, or you think, do you think any kids would like it? And as an adult, if you're an adult, or do you think you might try and play with it as well? I'm definitely intrigued. I think that Disney's using technology quite well. I think the Fast Pass system that they have, also the bracelets that they have in the theme parks right now, are really fantastic. And I'm glad to see them using technology more and more. Sometimes it doesn't work, like when you make a lunch reservation at the Be Our Guest restaurant and you order your food in advance because it's supposed to speed things up, and then you get there and they lost your reservation and you just order food like everyone else. But you got to skip the line, so that was okay. But anyway, I'm curious to what you think of it. What do you think of Disney's use of technology and why other studios aren't quite at the same level yet? I mean, Warner Brothers has the brands, right? I'd be like, why isn't there a Harry Potter Playmation? Unless Disney was smart enough to get an exclusive with the technology, and then Warner Brothers better go and start, courting some toy companies if they want to make sure they stay in competition with Disney. All right, so that is the second story of the day. And the third story of the day, because Movie Math won't be back till July 20th, I wanted to give you an update. As I said yesterday, I'm going to give you updates on the developing box office. And I'll cover it when Morning Movie News returns on July 14th of how Minions did at the box office. But anyway, on Wednesday, as I predicted yesterday, Magic Mike XXL is beating out Terminator Genisys. It's kind of close, but the gap is widening with each day, as I think many of us suspected, because word of mouth on Terminator Genisys is going to be so toxic. I know some of you don't agree with me, but look at the numbers. So on Tuesday night, Magic Mike edged out Terminator Genisys by 0.1 million, 2.4 to 2.3, but the gap widened on Wednesday, with Magic Mike pulling in 9.3 million and Terminator Genisys 8.9. Then Inside Out came in after them with around 7, and then you had Jurassic World, which just, can't keep up the momentum, I think, with these new entries and the fact that it's been playing for some time now. So, not that Jurassic World is out of the running or anything like that, but its days at number 1 are clearly over. So it's looking like, unless Inside Out has a major resurgence over the holiday, like over the actual weekend, like on Saturday and Sunday, I think Magic Mike is going to pull it out and be the number 1 movie for the weekend. So good for Channing Tatum. And again, as we discussed on Movie Minute earlier this week, just a $15 million budget for that, so that's very impressive indeed. All right, so on to today's viewer question, which comes from frequent BTT viewer James Green. I know James very well. Those of you who comment a lot and tweet me a lot, I get to know you, so I feel like, you're my friends, you're my pals. So, hi, James. James is a UK viewer, by the way. And so James says, hi, hey, Grace. I have a fun question that I'd love to hear your answer to. Today I watched Joe Wright's Atonement for the first time. I thought that was an okay movie. I really liked the use of the typewriter as part of the score, though. I thought that was really clever. And though the film had its flaws, I was blown away by its long takes set on the beaches of Dunkirk. I was wondering what your favorite long take is in any movie. Would you go for Birdman or something a bit more condensed? I'd love to hear your answer, and would once again like to thank you for your amazing YouTube content. Oh, and then he says some very nice things, and he closes with all the best from the land of tea and toast, James. I love tea and toast. I think it's one of the best exports you guys have. British toast is the best. And some people are like, what's British toast? Well, as we Americans refer to it, it's when the toast is so light, when the bread is so lightly toasted, it's just toasted enough to be warm and crunchy, but without being too burnt. And then the butter is melted on it just right. That's British toast, and it's amazing. But anyway, as I've said, and I think that's what James is referring to, some people in the past have taken offense at that correlation, for instance, in my Tinker Tailor Soldier Spy review. Although it might have also been because I trashed that movie big time because I really disliked it. But anyway, as for James's question today, I would have to say that Birdman is my favorite long take. Rope, of course, is one of the first big films to ever use long takes, so I think I have to tip my hat to that because, it's historic. But Birdman, the reason I would go with Birdman, even though there are very other good long takes in film, of course, and I would urge everyone to share their own favorite long take down below. I'm sure you'll have to do some Googling. I did because they don't always come to mind when you think of what are famous long takes? But after doing some research, to make sure that I answer this question accurately as to my own tastes, I really do have to say that it's Birdman, and here's why. Not only is Birdman an entire movie of long takes, but it's able to play with time via the long take. It's not a straight long take. Like Rope is just like one evening at a party, right? So it's done basically in real time. But Birdman is able to go over the course of different days, and it has this existential quality to it that it's able to maintain even with long takes. And that's with fantastic camera movement and the actors coming in and out of frame, and sometimes having to, switch gears in terms of, how they're feeling and what they're portraying, all in the same take for the actor. So I think that not only is the long take, very well used in Birdman, but it's masterfully executed from every different aspect of filmmaking. I absolutely think that it's a fantastic use of not only the actors, but the set design, the DP, and just everything. And the way they were able to hide everyone. They said, sometimes you'd have to crouch down or get in a doorway, and they were also able to change sets, off camera. Just so much work went into making that seem like flawless and almost dreamlike that it really was impressive. So Birdman is by far and away my favorite long take, use of the long take. And I would urge you, if you have still not yet seen Birdman, to give it a shot. It's really a special, special movie and totally worthy of all the Oscars that it won just this last season. All right, so that's today's morning movie news. Thank you so much for tuning in. Have a wonderful 4th of July if you're celebrating here, if you're in the United States. And to all the overseas BTT viewers, have a great weekend. And don't forget that regular programming will continue on the Beyond the Trailer channel all next week, and I hope you enjoyed those special episodes that I have planned for you. All right, thanks for watching. Bye.